The Listeria outbreak, in which 16 people have been killed and 72 infected by a food poisoning outbreak, have been traced to cantaloupes from a Colorado farm. And this is the deadliest outbreak in a decade. It's surpassing the number of deaths linked to salmonella and peanuts about 3 years ago, if you remember that, Lewis, we talked about. Mm-hmm. The Listeria has been traced back to these cantaloupes from Jensen Farms in Holly, Colorado, which issued a voluntary recall a few days ago. The cantaloupes raised at the farm have been shipped to 25 states, though, so they could be all over. To be totally safe, you probably should just be throwing out your cantaloupes right now. Mm-hmm. CDC Director Thomas Frieden has warned consumers to throw out cantaloupes if they don't know where they came from. I would probably be a little paranoid and throw them out no matter what. I'm just generally paranoid about this, though. Listeria is a bacteria that causes mild illness in healthy people, but it can be deadly to the elderly, and most of the deaths have been people over 60. Meanwhile, Tyson Foods has recalled over 130,000 pounds of ground beef due to a possible E. coli contamination. That sounds good. You'd think with all the ammonia they put in the beef, they would have had E. coli sorted out, that people would just be having problems from the ammonia as opposed to the E. coli.
I think the problems from the ammonia are take longer, aren't as acute.
I would agree with that. And this is obviously, Lewis, more proof that food regulation isn't necessary. And this is yet another example of the government intruding into people's lives, right? I mean, we don't need the government running our lives like a nanny state. This is about personal accountability. We should follow the practice used by Republicans, right? Have your servants taste test your food before it's brought out of the kitchen, and then you'll avoid the Listeria and you'll avoid the E. coli.
And by the way, wait like 3 to 5 days for it to kick in.
And wait 3 to 5 days, at which point the food will probably be bad anyway because you've waited 3 to 5 days.
Although Listeria, apparently, some forms of Listeria, you don't show symptoms if you have an infection, sometimes for months.
Brilliant.
Which is frightening because then you can't determine where it came from.
I'm actually kind of paranoid about food being bad. Like, I had this bad experience. I was in LA last week, years ago, I think in 2004 when I was in LA. I made a very bad decision of ordering clam chowder in a hotel, and it didn't end well. And since then, I've had the super paranoid California seafood complex where actually I was at a place that was clearly perfectly fine last week, and I was going to order the fish and chips, which you have to assume is really probably fine. I mean, it's fried fish. We're not talking about clams.
Right.
And I went with something else only because of that 2004 incident. I'm really just paranoid about seafood at odd places. And I don't know. It doesn't even make any sense.
I don't think it's a bad thing. Personally, I'd probably be more worried about chicken.
In California?
No,
in
just
general.
In restaurants in general, not because it may be bad, but just because it is the type of thing that can easily be undercooked or contaminated.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, if the food is okay, having it be undercooked, which is also a constant paranoia of mine, which is why I tend to overcook most of my meat, is that it won't actually make you sick if it's okay.
Right. But the chicken will.
Just being undercooked, even if it's okay, chicken will make you sick.
You don't want to eat.
I don't know that that's totally true. Will undercooked chicken, Natan, if it's fine, if it's not contaminated, make you sick? I think it's just that very easily it can have salmonella on it.
Yeah, I think officially it's just much more likely to have some sort of a pathogen in it if you don't cook it, but it's not that you're definitely going to get sick.
Right. Whereas undercooked fish, in theory, if the fish is fine, you should be fine, even eating undercooked fish. I mean, many people do it.
Right.
Sushi, right? Seared tuna, etc. Mm-hmm. All right, well, so there's my food paranoia. Warranted, unwarranted, you be the judge. Let's take a break. Make sure to like The David Pakman Show on Facebook, facebook.com/David Pakman Show, and get a David Pakman Show t-shirt like the one Lewis is wearing, davidpakman.com/gear. Back after this.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.